My arm hurts.
I'm sorry.
I got 3 vaccines in it today.
That's actually a lot of shots to get in one day.
Mm-hmm. She was
not only because like you're going to get tired, but does your arm feel fatigued too? Yeah.
It hurts so bad.
Yeah.
She was like, we're going to do a little triangle. It seemed like she just thought it was going to be fun to put 3 holes in my arm.
Make a little pattern, a little triforce.
I'm just going to do a little triangle. And, it's, maybe she would have even felt better if I had done 4, and then she could have done a little
square
diamond.
Mm-hmm. A triangle's good though. I would have started talking about Zelda and confusing the shit out of everyone.
So I am absolutely now immune to illness.
Wow.
Can't get any illnesses.
I can't give you a cold? You immune to colds?
I'm immune to colds.
How is it? I have a question.
I got the cold shot.
Dude, I wish. Colds are... I don't care what anyone says. I would rather be throwing up than have a cold. Let me know if you're with me on this, because I can't stand not being able to breathe. I can't stand the mucus. It lasts for like 500 years. The medicines don't help. The soup is no good. Sorry.
Soup is no good. You mean soup doesn't help, or just you don't like soup?
It doesn't help.
Okay.
Actually, it kind of helps a little bit, if I'm honest. I just got real riled up there for a second.
I mean, with a cold, you can take like a hot bath. But if you have the flu, that just makes you feel worse.
Yes, it definitely does. But then I'm just in a hot bath with my nose fucking running.
Here's a problem with a hot bath. It feels so good when that bathtub is filling up, right? And you got this hot water flooding in on your feet, on your butthole.
Wow. Okay.
So then you're covered in the hot water, and you're like, "Oh, this is so great! I'm ready to turn off the hot water. The tub's all full, and I'll just kick back and be in the tub." And then within 5 minutes, you're like, "It's so hot in here."
No, I know. I'm just like, Jesus.
I hate
it's so
this.
hot.
It's so hot. And then you do the thing where you're like, "Okay, I'm gonna turn on the cold water."
Right, to cool it down a little bit.
To cool it down, and then it feels so good to feel like the nice, like soothing cold water kind of flooding into the bathtub, and then like on the bottom you're like, "Ooh, I'm a little too cold." Like my feet are a little too cold, but like my nipples are just so warm that it is like evening it out, and it feels so good, like eating a ice cream sundae. And then you're like, all right, it's balanced out enough. I'm gonna turn off the water. And then you're sitting there, and after a couple minutes, you're like, it's so cold.
I know. How do we fix this issue?
What happened?
Okay. Listen, I know I just asked you a question on how to fix this problem. Okay. But I have to let you and the listeners know that during that, I went to go get my coffee order that I had Ubered to me. Uh-huh. And they buzzed in, and I answered, and I let them in, and I set up the stairs. And they're like, "I'm so sorry, it's spilled everywhere."
No way.
Yes. And they're like, "I'm going to go get you a new one." And I'm like, "Are you sure?" And he's just like, "Yeah, like the whole bag is soaked and like it's spilled." And I had gotten some banana bread with it, and it's soaked into the banana. So nothing was salvaged. He's very sorry about it. I'm like 2 minutes away from the Starbucks, so he's like, "No, I'll just go get you a non-ruined order."
Whoa.
So he has to go get another one. He was so close. He was in the building, Matt.
All I was going to say was hot cubes. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Save Your Game. I am your host, Matt Allcamp, and with me, this spooky, scary, eepy, creepy, crawly, crabby. Are crabs scary? It's Pushing Up Roses.
But neither am I, really.
No, you're not.
Hi, everyone. Pushing Up Roses here. I'm just trying to get my coffee. I'm going to edit this in a way. Well, you told me before recording that you were having pizza.
Mm-hmm.
And naturally, the response to that is, I want a pumpkin spice latte.
I'm going to get a pumpkin spice. Ooh, pizza. I'm going to get a pumpkin spice latte.
Ooh, pumpkins. So I did that. And it's a whole thing now. Because my order is trashed. I'm just waiting.
You're doing that thing where you're sort of like, you're clearly waiting for the guy to call back.
But he's not going to call back.
You're trying to not wait for it. So you're still talking.
I know.
You're still trying to carry on the but you are waiting for it. So you're like talking slow and deliberately. So I am. Hey, Roses.
Yes.
I've got a jump scare for you.
Okay.
No intro this week. Play Batty Spookerino. Hey everybody, welcome back to Save Your Game. It seems like I just welcomed you here. You guys have gotten so needy.
Clingy.
Yeah, clingy. Welcome us twice in a row, they say. They yell at us. I'm Matt Allcamp. This is Pushing Up Roses. You just heard our names. But
hi again.
Here's the thing. Here's why we skipped the intro. Because normally in the intro we ask each other what we've been playing. This week we played the same damn things.
We did that.
The game that I was going to talk about in the intro is what's it called? Carimara, Beneath the Forlorn Limbs. And I told Roses about it, and she went and played the ding dang thing.
I did it this time. Like, I don't know. Something sparked me. You know what it was?
Spooky.
You're like, this game is really good. It's like spooky cute. It's endearing. I'm like, okay. It's short. Yeah. Sold. It sold me. I'm like, it's short. And then I put 45 hours into it because I left it running.
I wonder if the developers get like some sort of notice of like somebody like if they get like stats like what's the longest somebody has spent on your game, and it's like how did somebody spend 45 hours in our game?
I do. This is not the first time that I have done this. So my hours on my Steam page are all kinds of messed up.
Because, okay, I'll just explain. Carimara, Beneath the Forlorn Limbs, we're just going to call it Carimara from here on out, is by the developer Bastinus Rex and published by Critical Reflex, which we don't always say the publisher, but there's a reason I'm bringing that up. We'll come back to them.
Yeah.
It was just released earlier this month, and it's only about an hour-long game. So we're going to be a little, we're going to sort of tiptoe around spoilers. We're going to have to talk about the way this game develops. But I think we'll try and avoid saying the plot points.
Yes.
That it develops into. Where the story goes. So the premise of this game is that you are a Carimara, which you find out is like a little magical gnome guy.
He's so cute.
You wear like a skull on your head.
You got like a little staff.
And you got a staff with a skull on it. Very skull.
You walk kind of like wobbly, kind of like a little wobble walk. It's so cute.
You are a type of magical creature in this world that can only interact with your world through cards.
Right.
That is the magic that you wield. So when you see somebody, like when you interact with somebody, when you meet somebody or discover an object, that thing will become a card in your hand. Mm-hmm. And then when you want to interact with other objects, or you want to talk to somebody about a certain subject, you have to present them the card.
Yeah.
So
that's a new mechanic for me. I looked at that and thought, like, is this a card game?
Yes. Yeah.
And you know what I'm asking. You know, like, what I mean.
Yes. Well, I looked at it and thought of the game Inscryption.
Okay.
And, because it also has this, like Inscryption, it's a 3D game. It's first person. There's it begins with you looking at cards across the table from a very spooky looking person.
Yeah.
In a little hut. very Inscryption like. But it's different than that. You are here. The role of a Carimara in this world is to dispel spirits.
Yeah, you're like a little ghost hunter.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's an old lady in this village who put out an ad asking for somebody to dispel the ghost in her basement because it is keeping her up at night and won't leave her alone.
Yeah.
She also feels as if it's bringing her some kind of misfortune. This woman is terrible. Like, this game starts out as really scary.
It does. Yeah, I was kind of there was a point where I decided it was more spooky cute, which was pretty early on for me. I know you said it was not for you. It took a while to get over the spookiness of it, but I decided early on that this was going to be more spooky cute.
There's a moment where you turn around. You're in a scary area, right? Like,
it is scary, yeah.
You talk to this old woman. She sends you to her basement. This basement is also scary, and
it's a cellar, and it's scary.
She has these really creepy dolls hanging up all around her house, and she's being cagey with you.
Yeah.
You know that she has more information than she's giving you, and you don't know what she's keeping secrets about. So you're looking at all of these things and being like, something is wrong here. I don't know what. This is scary. Yeah. And there's a moment that you are descending into the darkness that if you turn around, something has changed. Mm-hmm. And you interpreted that as very cute, and I interpreted that as terrifying. It was like a legitimate jump scare for me.
Oh no! I understand why I understand why it would be. I think that I was interpreting it almost immediately as this kind of Tim Burton-y type of experience, where, like, it does look aesthetically spooky, but it's not. It still is, though. I do think this game has, like, kind of a scary feel to it, for sure.
It's utilizing low-res 3D textures, which is going to be a theme to this episode. It's utilizing low-res 3D textures to make things feel unsettling. And again, all the characters are designed in an unsettling way. There is an owl. I
love the owl. Is my favorite. They did that. You know how we sometimes talk about, like, millennial humor and, like, internet speak humor, and we were a little sick of it. I was afraid that's how it was going to be with these characters. But as soon as the owl started talking in this kind of morbidly cute way, I was like, I love this character, actually. I think that's exactly what spooky cute is meant to be.
Yes.
Like, this owl is super hungry, and she wants to, like, eat the woman after she dies. And he's like, why? She's like, why don't you have food? Do you have food? Not interested.
And okay, so you descend into this basement, you meet the ghost. This is very early on in the game. This is the first 5 minutes of the game, or less. And you meet the ghost, and the ghost asks you, "Who am I?" And you can only use your cards to answer. And then it asks you, "What killed me?" And you can only use your cards to answer. And then it says, "Who killed me?"
Yeah.
And you use your cards to answer.
It becomes like a little murder mystery.
Unless something very strange has happened with your first playthrough, you will number one, not know the answers to these questions, and
Correct.
number two, just not have the correct cards to do this. So she lashes out at you, which again can be a little scary. Lashes out at you. It asks if you're mocking it, and then you pass out, and then you wake up in the old woman's hut with her hovering over you once again. But this is where the game starts to get interesting. So now you're a detective. You know, you're wandering around this very small little area trying to solve the murder of this ghost.
Yeah.
Who is this ghost? What killed them? Who killed them?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think that the theme of this game is examining your prior assumptions.
Sure.
And I think you've already hit, Roses, on a couple ways that the game does that. First of all, the game comes off immediately as terrifying, and the characters come off as scary and suspicious.
Yeah.
And you are asked throughout the game to constantly reevaluate those things. Is this game scary? Or is it kind of sweet and kind of beautiful?
Or even sad.
And sad. And I think by the end, I felt it was all of these things. It scared me at the beginning. By the end, it had this game has a legitimately beautiful ending.
Yeah, it does.
It's sad. It's sweet. It's beautiful. It's tragic. There comes a point where if you make enough guesses to the ghost will tell you to re-examine everything you thought you knew go back to the beginning.
Oh, I didn't know that.
To the think things through from the very beginning to try and figure this out. Re-examine everything you thought. And again, that is what the entirety, I think, of this game is about.
Yeah, I agree. And I love that. I love that. I love anything that's like, is it spooky or is it nice and cool, you know?
And I just love any game that makes its gameplay be a part of the story, like be a part of the themes.
Yeah.
Uses the gameplay to tell the story rather than just to have you sort of watch a story and interrupt it occasionally. And I think this is a game that I don't know if you would if you just watched the story, you'd kind of get this idea of like, oh, okay, assumptions are misleading. Like first impressions and the assumptions you make can mislead you. But but without playing it and without the atmosphere that it sets up, without coming across as a horror game at first, you're not going to get those themes.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
You're not going to digest them as well. What did you think of Carimara?
I really love it. I loved it so much that I did a fan art of it.
That's true. We'll post it on Instagram.
Yeah, we'll post it. And I know, you know me, I never do that. Never. Unless it's like older, you know, I think I drew us as Sam and Max. I drew a couple things for our Instagram that were retro adventure game related, King's Quest, whatever. Yeah. It's not because I don't want to. I just don't have a lot of time to do art that isn't for another purpose.
Sure.
And I liked it so much. I like the aesthetic so much that I drew a fan art of the owl character aforementioned that's in this game. And I wanted to show like the dev. I don't think they're on Blue Sky. Unfortunately, I did post it.
Okay.
But I really like it. I really love the art style. I thought it was sad, but also relieving by the time I got to the end.
Right. I think
for somebody like, I don't want to touch on it too much because this is the whole game, but I will say that on a personal level, it really spoke to me.
Okay.
And I actually felt like a little bit relieved of some of my own sadness.
Oh, okay.
Like the game was taking the brunt of some of this sadness that I relate to. And if you have played this game and you know something about me, you might get it. Right. listen, it's only 45 minutes to like an hour. Maybe you can make it longer if you really wanted to, but
and it's only like I think $6 or something, maybe less.
It's on sale. I bought it on sale for like $5. So honestly, I think it's very worth it.
Comes out, but
yeah,
I think it's worth it. And as we've talked about sometimes on the show, especially when we're playing shorter, smaller games, it is a developer who made a smaller game, who that is really masterful. And if we ever want to see more games from this person, we gotta buy this one.
I know. Yes, absolutely.
I really want to see more games from this person.
Okay, so. I just looked it up for our viewers. It is normally only $5. I got it for $4.50.
Yes.
So please support it.
It's great.
It's great.
It's called Carimara Beneath the Forlorn Limbs. Definitely worth your time. It's by Bastinus Rex. I think looks like this is their only game, at least on Steam. So
yeah. So let's get more.
And interestingly enough, this game is published by Critical Reflex. Roses, do you want to tell us a little bit about Critical Reflex before we move on to our next game?
Yeah. So I noticed that after playing Mouthwashing, right, I had started getting a lot of other adverts, not adverts, but recommendations for other things that kind of looked similar to Mouthwashing in that it's a slow res horror, right? So yes. Carimara, that I think that's how you got to Carimara, was probably through the publisher.
No,
really?
I saw it on, somebody recommended it on Blue Sky. I think Casey Explosion, who I'm a big fan of. When she recommends a game, I pay attention. I don't play all of them because me and you, we have particular tastes in games.
I know.
But I generally look up everything Casey Explosion.
I do too. Yeah, Casey Explosion is why I bought Dredge and loved it. I put many hours into Dredge. But yeah, no, that's a good call. I think it is interesting that recommendation correlates to what we're talking about. Because I know. Yeah, it's so interesting. So Critical Reflex, they published Mouthwashing, and they also published these very strange low-res horror games. They all seem to have a similar thing to each other. It seems like this publisher maybe has a point of view or a mission for certain games. So I actually played another one after Mouthwashing. I watched, well, I may as well have, to be quite honest with you. I watched 2 full playthroughs of No, I'm Not a Human.
Oh my God.
I know so much about this game now. Like I can do a deep dive on it because it's so good. But I do think it's interesting just in looking at this publisher and what they choose to publish.
Right.
I just find all these low res horror things really interesting. And like I'm kind of like stoked that people like it so much, that there is an audience for psychological horror in like this low res kind of aesthetic.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. There's definitely something about low res. Well, I think there's 2 things happening here. There's an eeriness to low res, right?
Yes.
And like a little bit having to use your imagination to fill in the gaps that the resolution doesn't.
Yeah.
That's one thing. And the other thing is the throwback to a time when the internet was spooky.
Yeah.
I think like the internet's scary now for other reasons. But when we were kids, the internet was spooky. It was such a mystery place. And that's where all the spooky pastas or creepy pastas came from. Is that it was a legitimate time where somebody could post something about a TV show that they half remembered from being a kid, and somebody else could be like, oh my God, I remember that show too. And they're both lying.
Yeah.
And you can't just look it up.
Right.
So
that's true.
You don't know. So when they're talking about like a TV show where somebody used to like, where somebody ate a crow on in front of the camera or something, you as a, you know, teenager or whatever, even probably into your 20s or 30s, probably any age in that era, early 2000s, it was scary.
Absolutely.
You were like, I don't know if these people are being, I don't know if this is real or not.
Yeah.
That era of the internet has kind of gone away, but to me, that also holds hands with the low res PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 horror.
Yeah.
Is this like the two scary things? Those are two new scary dimensions of horror that were happening in the early 2000s. And so something about seeing these low res games brings me back to that time in my life. I don't know if you feel similarly.
I do feel that way. It's like scary nostalgia.
Yes.
That thing? It's like scary nostalgia. It's weird. It makes you feel strange.
Scarestalgia.
Oh, please don't start saying that.
Oh,
I also
no.
think,
if we start hearing scarestalgia on the internet, I'm going to quit all things. My job. My real life job.
My job. Becomes destitute.
Sorry, guys. I have to quit my job. I heard scarestalgia on the internet. Can't take it.
I also think that like low res lends itself to things looking obscure, you know, like, so you're, especially because these games seemingly are mostly first person. So like when you're approaching something that's low res, you're not really sure what it is. It could be something scary. Maybe it's not something scary, but it's like everything is a little obscured, a little bit lower in quality.
I'm sorry if you had more to go, but you just reminded me of something. That is the point I was building to, and I think I kind of lost it halfway through. Is
because scary nostalgia.
The scary nostalgia is there was that sort of thing on the internet. That was a thing you would discover, video games you'd never played before, or video games that somebody made.
Yeah.
Somebody made a spooky game and just uploaded it to the internet.
Yeah.
And they all looked like this. That's
true, yeah.
So that, I think, is why the two things are linked in my head. And anyway.
Yeah, no, it's so interesting to see it come back, because this is not a Rose's aesthetic at all. It's just not. And I'll explain more about that as we talk about mouthwashing. Now, I already spoke a little bit about mouthwashing in our last episode. So I am not going to go over those things that we already talked about. By this point, if you want to go listen to it, go listen to it. In fact, yes, go listen to it. Because
also, do you want to? Is it time for us to put on Spooky Draculino and talk about mouthwashing?
But I already played Spooky.
Yeah, that was segment 1. This is segment 2.
Oh. Okay. Incoming. Hey everyone, welcome back to Save Your Game. I'm Pushing Up Roses. With me as always, the scarestalgic. He's gonna quit his job.
I'm calling my boss.
The unemployed Matt Ockamp.
Hey everybody.
Hi. So yeah, I'm just gonna fucking nosedive right into this. So as I was saying, we already talked about mouthwashing before, or at least I did, and then Matt played it upon my recommendation. So hopefully you already know what it's about. And now we're just going to discuss things a little bit further. Something I want to add on top of this whole low res thing is that I don't think that that mouthwashing in particular is a game you can just simply watch a playthrough for.
No.
And the reason is because I feel like with the way that the characters are designed, they're so strange looking. If you just see that, it just doesn't, you need to be able to like read and feel and think about the dialogue. You need to be able to read it in your own tone. Because otherwise it kind of looks a mess, to be honest with you. So I do think maybe don't. I mean, I watched a playthrough after I played it. Just because I wanted to think. I'm doing a video on it. I want to think about it more. See if I missed anything, you know.
I think that's helpful. I think there's a lot of different interpretations people have of this game. And
Definitely.
We are going to talk about ours. And I think ours match.
They do
but
match.
I think our initial takeaways, again, they didn't disagree with each other, but they were focused on different areas.
Yeah.
But because of that, and because I think all interpretations of this game, at least that I've heard so far, are valid interpretations.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think listening to other people's perspectives about this game is a good idea. Now, for people like me and Roses, we are game critics and game, commenters. So in order to not be, we need to have developed our opinions before we start watching other people's. But yeah. I think I wouldn't, if you're interested in Mouthwashing and if you've played Mouthwashing, I wouldn't just stop with us. I would seek out some other interpretations as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And I really do feel, and obviously listen to our takes no matter what, but I think that our opinions are going to be more interesting to listen to if you've played Mouthwashing.
Sure.
Because then, it kind of feels like you're part of the conversation, I guess.
Right. And yeah, because there's going to be things that I don't know. It's just a very interesting and unique game. You'll never have played anything like it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is psychological horror. Do you want me to just go into my interpretation of what I took away from it?
Here's what I think. So the last time you explained the very basic premise.
Yes.
I think we're going to have to spoil some big plot stuff in order to even discuss it.
Yes, so, we're going into spoilers hard.
I think we're just going to we're going to get into spoilers kind of
immediately. Yeah.
So we'll give you like a couple seconds. And now, why don't we talk about the rest of the plot?
I took some pretty intense things away from this game, as one can imagine. Remember I told you last time about, how psychological horror really deals with human horrors. And I think this kind of genre and art is sadistic at best. It's not always, quote, fun, right? Because it does deal with human, like very human horror with an often more like surreal aesthetic. Like the aesthetics in this game, not grounded in reality at all. We're talking horrific visuals, eyeballs, just weird stuff, right?
Yes.
But the fear that we're dealing with, those are very grounded. Those are very human, which I think is such an interesting juxtaposition. So my main thing, and Matt's going to give his kind of parallel interpretation. To me, this game is about sexual assault.
Yes.
I think that's the only thing. Well, I don't, but I think it's the biggest thing that this game is talking about. And even some of the other themes kind of drive that. I also think it is about a boys' club. Remember how I told you that one of the scariest parts of this game was that you're stuck in space?
Yes.
And there are 4 men and 1 woman.
Yes. I'm going to give away the 2 big twists.
Yeah.
Here. The 2 big plot points. Number 1, you start out this game playing the person who crashes the ship. You are forced to crash the ship. You are playing first person. You crash the ship. Suddenly, like it tells you to swerve left.
Right.
And the only thing you can do is swerve right. It tells you that the autopilot has been engaged. The only thing it'll allow you to do is disengage the autopilot. And you crash. and then you kind of cut to all the crew except for the captain have survived, and they have a couple months of rations left over.
Well, no, the captain survives.
Well, right, yeah. So
he's alive. He just
all the other, yeah, all the other crew are like together in the sort of lounge area. The captain he lost the use of his arms and legs. He lost a lot of skin to burns. Yeah. He seems to have lost one eye.
Can't really speak. Yeah, no,
he lost his lips, and seems like he lost his tongue, perhaps. And so he can't, he can't.
It's bad. It's horrific looking.
Eat on his own or speak. And so you, so you are now playing Jimmy, his second in command. And there's some other characters, Daisuke, who is the mechanics intern, Swansea, who's the mechanic, Anya, who is their medical person, and then Jimmy, who is the co-pilot, and Curly was the captain. And they're all talking about how, they can't ever know why Curly crashed the ship.
Right.
So the big plot point here is you eventually find out Curly didn't crash the ship. Jimmy crashed the ship. You were playing Jimmy the whole time.
You're not playing Jimmy the whole time.
You're playing him in the beginning, and then you've been playing through the game, throughout the game. We should say that also. The game is non-linear, so you jump back and forth in time to before the crash and after the crash.
Right. And so you were playing the captain, Curly, before the crash. And after the crash, you're playing Jimmy, which I think is really excellent storytelling.
And eventually you discover that during the crash, in that intro, you were playing Jimmy.
Correct,
He's the one who crashed the ship.
He is the one that crashed.
I guess there's another couple big plot points. You discover also that what you were carrying was mouthwash. You had been on a 382-day journey. You're 147 days in, and this is just what this business does. They transport goods. But everybody's very surprised when they find out it's something as pointless as mouthwash.
Yeah, and only mouthwash.
Given up over a year of their lives.
Yeah.
To transport what they describe as an ocean of mouthwash.
Yeah.
And I'm going to, because you have a lot to say about it, I'm going to let you say sort of the other big plot point.
This, I think, is really the critical thing of this story, and what kind of drives the characters and what themes you can take away is that Anya, who is she's the psych-eval as well, by the way. She is a nurse. She's the psych-eval nurse, and she's the medical nurse. At some point after the crash, she tells, or actually was it before the crash? At some point on the ship. Okay. She tells Curly, the captain, we're playing Curly at this point, that she is pregnant. And, Curly is a little taken back by this, and he's like, who? How? And Anya says, Curly, I told you. Now, prior to this conversation, I think this is an interesting thing about mouthwashing. You can easily miss that this might not have been non-consensual. You might think that this was consensual and that she is simply freaking out because she is pregnant on a ship in space, and she may have to give birth in space. That's a huge deal, right?
Yeah.
However, throughout the game, there's little nuggets of Anya talking to each of the guys, particularly about Jimmy, who seems to be an extremely toxic person, completely obsessed with success and being a better man than Curly and never doing anything wrong. There is a part where Anya asks Curly why there are not locks on the bedrooms, but there's a lock on like the medical bay and the cockpit. And Curly just offhandedly remarks, just to keep those things safe, but not the bedrooms. And let's talk about Anya's character. There's
some other indicators. Before we get off this, do you mind if we talk about some of the other indicators? At one point, she says that she mentions that Curly won't let her carry the gun.
Correct.
Indicating that she's asked him, and he said no. But she will let him take the locked gun case and hide it so that, quote, he doesn't get it.
Correct, yeah.
So that's another indicator. You might, that Jimmy has been sexually harassing her in his psyche vows.
Yep. That's one of the first things you learn, actually.
Mm-hmm. You might easily, in that first scene, think that it's just a joke that everybody's in on, because Curly doesn't take it seriously, and you don't know anything about these characters yet. So you might think like, oh, what a silly guy.
Yeah, he's just a dick. Yeah.
And you also know that that after the crash, where she chooses to sleep, and I had to have this pointed out to me by like a podcast I listened to, she sleeps underneath the Pony Express statue,
mm-hmm.
which has a motion sensor that goes off if you come near it.
Yeah.
So again, you sort of string all those things together.
Yeah. She has made references to being at least afraid of Jimmy, afraid of his anger. There's also a thing that Anya's character does, which is very, again, rooted in real life and how victims react to an abusive person. But she's clearly, because they are stuck in space together, there's no way out, can't go anywhere. She displays something called fawning, which is kind of a defense mechanism of when you are deeply afraid of upsetting somebody. So you kind of gas them up. And I think that's an interesting part of the game. I think it can be overlooked, but there is a point where you, playing Jimmy, you have to go find extra painkillers. Mm-hmm. And Anya's like, you did it. You're amazing, Jimmy. Like, you really are. And I think that is an interesting and grounded thing that I really related to. It's like, yeah. That is what somebody would do. For anyone who thinks that's a weird thing to do, to just praise your abuser, it's not. Especially somebody who is violent or angry. And I just thought that was so sad.
Is always asking him to do things for her. And there's one very tough thing that she asks him to do over and over, which is give Curly his pain medicine.
Yeah.
But she also asks him to do really easy things, like go get something out of the medicine cabinet. And like she's just always asking him for little things like that. The other thing you might notice is anytime you talk to her, you're Jimmy, anytime you talk to her, you might mistake this as her just always being lost in thought or something.
Yeah.
But she's always spooked.
Yeah.
Every time you talk to her, she jumps.
Yeah. Yeah, she's traumatized. Mm-hmm. So that's the main horrific thing that happens. But I think even more horrific is the response or lack of response from kind of this boys club that has formed on the Tulpar, which is the name of the ship. So when you tell the Captain Curly, his response is very strange. It's not uncommon. I've heard this response from a boys club before. And that is that, let me just go talk to him. I've known him a long time. We can fix this. Let me go talk to him. Mm-hmm. Even when he's talking to Jimmy, he's not even angry at his actions. He just said, hey, we can fix this.
And he says specifically, we've been through worse. It's not the end of the world. We can fix this. As if the bad thing that happened is happening to Jimmy.
Yes.
As if
and Curly too.
As if Jimmy and Curly are the victims. And also, you gotta wonder, what does he mean we've been through worse? Either he's downplaying what happened, or they've been through worse, which is even scarier.
Yeah, which I'm going to say that they're downplaying it. Jimmy certainly does not give two shits about what he's done. It is shown through the mechanic. And I'll get to that in a little bit. So some people say, because I have been listening to other people's critique, and some people say that the character of Swansea is very complicated, and had Anya told him, it would have gone, instead of telling Curly, maybe it would have been dealt with a different way. Maybe Swansea, he's kind of this gruff mechanic, middle-aged man. He's a bit of an alcoholic, anger problems, doesn't like his intern, Daisuke.
Yeah.
But I actually don't think it's as complex as people are making it. And maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I actually put him in the same boys club because he really only reacts strongly, and again, we're going into spoiler territories, is when another character dies. Daisuke, his intern. When Daisuke dies, Swansea loses his mind. And it's just interesting to me that these men are really only acting and responding to each other. They're not responding to Anya. They're responding to other guys that they care about. Swansea is so upset about Daisuke that he tries to attack Jimmy. Curly is upset, but he takes that upset to Jimmy. Nobody is talking to Anya about it. I think the only other character that maybe would have shown compassion was Daisuke, but he is maybe too young to carry that kind of weight. I don't think Anya confided in him the way she confided, in the captain.
One thing about Swansea in this scenario that I will mention is he does find out about Anya and Swansea and Daisuke's death at the same time.
He does, yes.
He learns of Anya's death, then immediately Daisuke dies.
Yes.
Or, well, Daisuke becomes... This is a really disturbing part. Daisuke becomes... he gets maimed and becomes potentially fatally injured.
Yeah.
And Anya has told Jimmy. Anya, who at this point is dead.
Yeah.
I'll
herself. Talk about that too.
With all the painkillers that were meant for Curly, that they'd been saving for Curly and they'd been feeding Curly. Anya had told Jimmy that you cannot use mouthwash as a disinfectant because there's too much sugar content. It'll cause an infection.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows how little Jimmy cares about Anya's opinion or expertise, because he dumps mouthwash all over Daisuke.
Yeah.
And Swansea, who does listen to Anya and does take her seriously, immediately says, well, you've just killed him. He's like, whether he was going to survive or not, now he's going to be covered in infections, and fucking kills him with an axe to the face.
Yeah.
Which was definitely more than he needed to do.
Yeah, it's definitely a mercy killing, and something I clocked about that is his name being Swansea and his keychain having a swan on it. And swans kill their children when they are infected, when they're sick, about to die. They will actually do a mercy killing on their children.
Right.
And I feel like that's what he did there, and that's why people think he is a very complex character. He kind of showed this kind of grumpy, angry side toward Daisuke, who's just a young kid, just trying to do his job, but that he looked at him like a son. And that kind of, yeah.
Well, a thing that we also find out at this time is that Swansea has been refusing to let anybody into the utility room, and the utility room holds like cryogenic pods. So the food's going to run out within 5 months, I think. And you can stay alive in the cryogenic pod for, I think, 2 years.
20.
Maybe 20 years. 20 years,
20,
yeah.
Yep.
So you have a much higher chance of getting rescued before you starve to death.
Yeah.
If you go into the cryogenic pod. And Swansea's been saving the cryogenic pod. Jimmy, who is selfish, assumes other people are selfish. So when he sees this pod, he assumes Swansea's been saving it for himself.
Yeah.
There's a lot of theories that Swansea was saving it for either Anya or Daisuke, and then again loses both of them immediately, one after the other. and that being what causes him to lose his mind.
Yes. I do think it's still unfortunate that he knew about what happened. Mm-hmm. There's a part earlier in the game where it's implied that Anya told Swansea what happened. So he knew about this beforehand, before she died. Mm-hmm. And he still didn't keep her safe. He still got more upset at, I think, losing Daisuke.
I do think that it might have something to do with why he carried the axe around, though. He didn't start carrying the axe around everywhere immediately.
Yeah.
Right? He would not let Jimmy have the axe.
Correct, yeah.
For most of the game.
Right.
And Swansea has this philosophy. And this is going to tie into the capitalism stuff that I'm going to get into. Swansea has this sort of philosophy that we spend our whole lives trying to build something important out of ourselves and trying to create a life for the future and for other people. And something like this can happen. And it was all for nothing.
Yeah.
And so he throws away, I think, something like a decade of sobriety.
Yes.
Because he's like, we're all going to die. I guess I've been sober for nothing. And so by the time he lets Jimmy have the axe, by the time Anya tells him about the rape, by the time he lets Jimmy into, well, he doesn't let Jimmy into the utility room. This is another thing we should talk about with Jimmy, is he's always talking about solving problems, but all of his problems, every problem he solves involves taking agency away from somebody else.
Correct.
He gets into the utility room by getting Swansea wasted by mixing alcohol, rubbing alcohol with his drink. So by the time Swansea is in the position to be of any help to anybody, he has already sort of given up on life, given up on humanity, given up on himself, and no longer is in his right head, right? He's just drunk on mouthwash at all times.
Yeah.
But we don't have confirmation. But he's saving, the only thing that he's trying to do at this point is run out the clock until everybody is close to dead, so he can throw one person in the cryogenic chamber.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be himself. It's not going to be Jimmy. It's likely either Anya or Daisuke, and and I think it's clear in the narrative that he doesn't know which, and that is one of the things that makes him upset. He doesn't know who's. He doesn't know who's
it's clear that it is Daisuke.
Okay.
I think it all, because he just strangely, one of the last things he does is he talks to Jimmy about exactly what you're saying about the sobriety. And the only person he even mentions is Daisuke and getting him off this rock and giving this guy a life. He doesn't mention Anya. He has no sadness towards that situation. And I think that's very strange. I'm not even saying that Swansea is a bad guy.
Sure.
I'm not saying that. I think this happens a lot. I think that women in circles, they'll get harassed or assaulted, and yet guys will kind of still band and kind of look after each other. Maybe he was just thinking that Daisuke was the youngest of the group, and that's why. But I do think it's interesting that they all kind of just take care of themselves. And I do want to piggyback off of you saying, like, Jimmy is constantly trying to, quote, take responsibility.
So, yes, that is different than him trying to fix things. These are two different phrases that are said a lot in the game.
Yes, and he's trying to do both, right? He's trying to fix things. Yes. He's trying to take responsibility for things. And even, this is also very infuriating, he is always still looking out for either himself or trying to take responsibility for what happened to Curly.
Yes. Swansea does mention Anya to Jimmy. It's when he's trying to kill Jimmy. There's a scene where he's chasing Jimmy around and he tells him,
yeah,
Anya told me all sorts of things.
Right. But that's
that
exactly why he could have done something before.
Right.
But he chose not to.
It seems clear that this is the other reason why I do give Swansea some benefit of the doubt is so this all happens at 5 months? And I believe it's 5 months after the crash, and it's 4 months after the crash where we know for sure that Swansea has been told, because he is found having secret conversations with Anya.
Yeah.
And the two are plotting something together. And I think during that conversation, I believe you can read it in a way that he has told Anya about the pod. And Anya is the only person he's confided in about the pod.
Yeah.
That is a thing I don't know is true, but it's a thing that I think very well could be true.
Yeah.
And it is potential. There's a potential that Anya, if he was saving it for Daisuke, which I think you're probably right, that was a decision that was made with Anya.
Yeah, I think it probably was. But I also think that kind of says something really interesting, right? Is that a woman is now expected to sacrifice her trauma for a dude again. I think that's very interesting. Again, I don't think that Swansea is a bad guy character. I think he's looking out for a younger character that he interprets as one of his own, like a Swan would. And so I don't think he's a bad character. I think that he's both complex and common at the same time, where again, where a woman's problems are swept aside for something else that's maybe a little bit more important, even though in hindsight, this was pretty important. Something needed to be done immediately, not a month later.
Right.
So, but tragically, Anya is traumatized by what happened. She was not only assaulted, but now they are stuck in space. She has to take care of Curly, who frankly I don't think even wants to be kept alive. I don't think anybody would, right? So she does take her own life with an oxycodone overdose, which is a painkiller. I'm not going to get into this too much, but this is something that always bothers me in any media. So don't take this as a hard critique of the game. That's not how painkillers work. You can't just take painkillers and die. You will slowly die.
Yeah.
Maybe in 2 days. Spoken from suicide survivor. So that kind of took me out of it a little bit. But that's a me problem. That's not a you problem. That's a me problem. And I'll concede to that. But she does overdose. She locks herself in the medical room with Curly and takes all of the painkillers. And, Daisuke notices this right away, and he goes to Jimmy and says she locked herself in the room. I don't know what she's going to do. Something bad's going to happen. And so we try to get her to open the door, but not really. Jimmy's just like, open the door. And Anya makes a quip about, you're right. I should have done this before when you told me. Meaning at some point, Jimmy told her to kill herself, which is horrific and terrible. And even when you find her passed away, at first her body's blurred out. Like, yes. It's really smart. You can't see it. You go into the room.
They set it up as if you don't know if she killed herself or she killed...
Or Curly, yeah.
Like, it seems as if she's killing Curly. And that's what Jimmy assumes.
Yeah.
And that's what we, the player, are supposed to assume. So the two are both blurred out and you don't know which happened.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's knowing what you do in retrospect. It's just clear that he doesn't even notice her. Mm-hmm. He doesn't even care. Won't even look at her. Doesn't acknowledge her existence, her body. And that's even made more relevant later when you are able to go into the room and you do see that she's overdosed. You can't even look at her. The controls are not even there. You won't do anything. Jimmy will not do shit to look at this. And that's kind of where he kind of has a strange definition of A, fixing things, and B, taking responsibility. Because he never does with Anya. In fact, he doesn't even really focus on the assault. He focuses on, I crashed the ship. I got to fix this. Curly, you can still be a good captain. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to put you in the cryopod, which is like, so you've still not taken responsibility for this woman. You're just trying to help another dude, even at the end, who doesn't even want to live?
To be clear,
infuriating.
To be clear to the listeners, at the end of the game, his final act is to put Curly in that final cryopod and then shoot himself.
Yeah. Which honestly is such an easy way out. I definitely subscribe to the idea that there are worse things than death. And one of those things is living with guilt or torture or suffer, which he just gets to not have to do anymore. Yeah. But Matt, the way I was infuriated when he's like, I'm not going to acknowledge this Anya thing that happened. That's not even my fault. I'm going to make it up to Curly, this other fucking dude who, again, I don't think wants to be alive. He's just suffering this entire game. And I also think it says something that even though Curly was not helpful, right? He was complicit, not helpful, not supportive enough to Anya. He is not the one that deserved to be what's not attacked, but what's the word I'm looking for? Injured. Like incredibly critically injured. And I think that's interesting too. The guy who is maybe more complacent is the one who got the most hurt out of what happened, because I think it goes without saying that this is why Jimmy crashed the ship. He did something shitty. Curly was gonna talk to him about it, and he decided this was gonna hurt his reputation after they land. It's gonna hurt Curly's reputation. So don't worry, I'll fix it by crashing us and sending us all to our death, and that way no one will ever notice. No one will know that we're both bad people. And I just think it's so interesting that the one who committed the worst atrocity, because let's be honest, being complacent about something is still not the same as being the abuser. It's not the same as being the one who did the rape. So literally every other person is suffering except Jimmy. It's the way that I was just like, I was so infuriated, but also like, yeah, I get it. This is exactly what happens. It's exactly what's happened to me. Especially like in early days when I was like a woman talking about video games in a male-dominated space. Men will look after each other. They will not look after you. I'm not saying that about you, Matt. Matt is actually a really good guy. No, for real. I wouldn't do a podcast with an asshole, right? But sure. in my direct experience, that is how I felt. That they will look out for each other, and they will kind of deflect responsibility by taking responsibility for something that they didn't even need to do.
Well, I'm not immune to this, right? Like all of us, I think one of the things about addressing sexism and misogyny is acknowledging, and I would I would suggest this to both our male and female listeners, even those of us who are deeply feminist, is all of us are guilty of it. No matter how much you think you're not, this is the culture you spent your whole life in. You have absorbed some of it. I promise you. And I promise you, no matter how much you've analyzed and worked out of your own head, there's more. So it's a lifelong same with racism, right? These are lifelong processes. You never being anti-sexist, being anti-racist, being a feminist. These are verbs. These are not nouns, or these are not adjectives. You will never be those things. You're always working to be those things. You're always having to re-examine your assumptions. You're always having to re-examine your behaviors under the, did I is that truly the belief I have, or is that from a sexist assumption or racist assumption or whatever?
Yeah. I really connected with it, obviously. Like I hope I'm not speaking about it too in an upset way.
No.
Because though it is infuriating to me, it's infuriating because of how much it resonated with me. That's why I'm frustrated. And I'm almost speaking about it and getting a little bit of relief from it.
Sure.
Because that means the person who wrote it gets it and understands. And
this was a female writer who, and there's a lot of people who talk about this as being about the video game industry, because this is written by Johanna Kasarinen, who's one of the artists and designers and writers for Wrong Organ, who's the developer. Yeah. And she wrote the game How Fish is Made also. And, she's a woman in games. She has been part of these boys clubs where they all protected each other and they all rallied around each other and they ignored her, right? Like we can... Even
the good guys. The good guys are
absolutely
protecting each other. Yeah.
So I do think I want to continue to let you have all the space you need to talk about this, but there are some other layers to this game that we need to discuss.
I'm going to segue into those layers because the thing I'm going to kind of end on, because I could talk about more stuff. I'm not going to. I might talk about way more in the video that I'm working on about this game. I do want to talk about the mouthwash, and that's going to lead into, I think, a parallel theme that you're going to discuss. So again, you are hauling just endless amounts of mouthwash. And this mouthwash is not like any other mouthwash. It's super high in sugar content. It's 14% ethanol. It's it's toxic. And the advertising is that, what is it called? Like dragon breath mouthwash?
Yeah,
dragon fire. And that this mouthwash will not leave any trace behind. It will leave your breath fiery fresh. And I'm like, that's interesting, because that's what Jimmy's trying to do. He's trying to get rid of a problem, cover it up without a trace, but ultimately making it worse. Burning everything down, fire and burning it all down, leaving things without any evidence that something bad even happened. I think like Jimmy covering up things is such a big theme to mouthwash temporarily covering up a problem like bad breath or something like that. So that's why I think it's mouthwash. It's kind of in line with Jimmy just trying to cover up all his problems with a fix that's not going to fix it. It's just not. It may look good, it may smell good, but it's not going to fix it. But also in regards to what I think you're going to bring up, mouthwash is such like a mundane, pretty pointless thing to haul in bulk. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to. That's the first thing I thought about. Like, why mouthwash? Why is it called mouthwashing? Why are they hauling mouthwash? And I think what you're saying is absolutely true. Number one, it is a temporary solution to a deeper problem.
Yeah.
And that is all that Jimmy knows how to do.
I think Jimmy is maybe the most hated game character I've ever seen online, by the way. Yeah. Man, it's rough in those comments.
I will have some stuff to say about that too, I think.
Yeah.
Because there's another thing that is repeated throughout this game that I think is really important, which is, so before I get into the capitalism metaphor, I think maybe now is the time to talk about it. There's another thing that is repeated throughout this game that Curly says, which is, our worst moments don't make us monsters. And that is meant as a sort of, hey, don't give up. Don't give up on life. You can, even if you've done something terrible, you can move forward. That is how Curly means it.
Yeah.
Jimmy takes it as an excuse to do terrible things.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Before he does something terrible, he says to himself, our worst moments don't make us monsters.
Yeah.
So it is firstly how he absolves himself. Secondly, how he absolves Curly out loud to everybody else. He knows that Curly didn't crash the ship, but that's how he launders, how he mouthwashes Curly's reputation to all the other crewmates who think that Curly was the one who crashed the ship. He repeats, our worst moments don't make us monsters, and he makes other people repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is why we play as Jimmy.
Yeah.
Because a monster behaves the way it behaves because that's in its nature.
Mm-hmm.
And because it can't do anything else. Dracula's got to bite a neck. It's the only way it can survive.
Yeah.
A Frankenstein has to chase little girls. That's all it can do. Now, we made friends with the little girl. It's chases.
Well, I'm like, what are you talking about?
Made friends with a Frankenstein has to make friends with little girls and chase villagers. That's all it knows how to do. That's what it is to be a monster. But humans aren't monsters. Humans make decisions.
Yeah.
They are in charge of their actions, and they can change those actions at any time. And Jimmy could have chosen other things at any time. He's not just a monster who has to do these things.
Yeah.
So
I even think that, I even think after the assault happened, he could have done something.
Yes. There's a million things he could have done.
And I think, I'm speaking for myself here, and maybe other, survivors and victims can relate to this. But for a long time, I waited for an apology that never came.
I was just going to say, he could have apologized.
Yeah, I know that sounds trite, and that's why I'm speaking about it from, frankly, from my experience, because I truly some victims don't want that, and that's not what's going to help them heal, obviously, sure. Because you know what, an abuser is rarely going to apologize. It's an apology that doesn't come, right? But for me, for a long time, I fantasized and idealized getting an apology, how much that would mean to me.
Yeah.
That somebody would take accountability, that somebody, even after such a traumatic event, it would still mean something. It would still relieve me of something.
Yeah.
And it just never came.
And it's not, an apology isn't absolution. It's just an admission of guilt. Yeah. And he could have admitted his guilt. He never did. He didn't take any responsibility for it. The only thing, and that's flashes on the screen a million times, take responsibility, and he's only taking responsibility for what he did to Curly. Kind of what he did to the crew, but barely.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
And never what he did to Anya. And so making you play as Jimmy, I think hammers home that idea. He's making choices. You have to do these things. You, as the player, keep wanting to not do some of the shit that you have to do.
Yeah, I didn't want to do any of that. It felt terrible.
But it becomes the only option because that's all Jimmy will let you do.
Correct.
It's not the only option. You don't have to. You would, when you're steering the ship into the asteroid. Or the planet or whatever it is. You could have gone the other direction. But Jimmy wouldn't let you.
Yeah.
The same as he controlled everyone else. He's controlling you, the player. And again, he's making choices. And I think it is really important when not only is it important for thinking of a life after mistakes, which, is something I don't think we should ask of victims, but I think is something that we can ask of the rest of, that we can ask of, say, people we know.
Yeah.
Or care about. That there is a life after mistakes. And one of the things to one of the first steps towards seeing that in somebody else is realizing they're not a monster. They made a bad choice or a series of bad choices. But it is also important to realize that about ourselves and each other, is that nothing is a foregone conclusion in our behavior.
Yeah.
We are not programmed to harm people. Harming somebody is a choice you're making. So anyway, I think that's the last thing I want to say about Jimmy.
Yeah.
And actually kind of the last thing I want to say about this crew at all. Because I think there's another villain in this game.
Yes.
And that villain is Pony Express.
Yes.
There's parallels with how the crew treated each other, right? There's a lack of human caring that happens in a capitalist system the exact same way, like caring about individuals the exact same way as in a patriarchy, the culture at large, or individuals will refuse to care about women, right? And the agency and the suffering of women. So let's start with the very beginning here, right? They're sending crews of people out for a full year of their lives.
Yeah.
To cart mouthwash across the galaxy. And this is why the crew loses their minds when they see what they're carting is mouthwash. They've given up now. They're giving up the rest of their lives, right? They're going to die. And they're reacting to it in the moment. The shallow read of it is they're reacting because they can't use mouthwash for anything, right? It's not food. It's not medicine.
Yeah.
It's not
anything.
An escape pod, right? It is something that they can't use. But
hey,
also,
it's another temporary fix for Swansea, because the only real thing that they're using it for is to get a little drunk.
Yes.
Well, Swansea is.
Swansea's getting very drunk.
Swansea's, he's getting plastered.
So this is the part where they all start to spiral into complete madness because they realize that this has all been pointless. This tragedy that they're in is completely meaningless. No one needed this mouthwash. No one needs mouthwash.
Yeah, especially mouthwash that is just sugar.
Right, and most mouthwash has a lot of sugar in it. Like, this is not just this mouthwash. This is a normal thing about mouthwash. And so the company is asking people to give up all this time of their lives. And another thing that happens that we didn't talk about is a couple, I guess it's like around 100 days into this 382 day trip, the company contacts Curly and tells him that they are getting out of the transport business.
Yeah.
And everybody's losing their jobs.
Yes.
Except for Curly.
Yes. And I do want to say that this happened, I think, before the assault. So when we talk about like this making people actually lose their minds, I think it really did. And it was just avoidable altogether.
Well, so it does make Jimmy lose his mind because Jimmy's take on this, and he says as much to Curly. He's like, you act like we're in this together, but we're not. We live completely different lives. After this trip, you're going to move on to better days. Us, Anya, Curly, Daisuke. Well, Daisuke is a slightly different story because he comes from a rich family, and they're basically sending him on this crew to get some life experience before he goes back to being just a rich kid.
I also think Jimmy's being presumptuous, and that just Daisuke will be okay. He's very victimizing it up right now, and
Also, he's right about Curly, he's right about Swansea. Swansea feels the same way about himself. it's not clear that he's right about Anya.
Right.
A couple characters during the course of the game say that Anya's a bad nurse, and it's possible she is. We don't know her skills as a nurse, but it's also impossible to tell based on what she's been through and the things that are being asked of her. Yeah. So, you know, I don't think that any of these points hinge on whether or not Anya was a good nurse.
Right.
But whatever the case, Jimmy doesn't think that she is. So thinks that, you know, Anya's not going to be able to find work after this. Swansea is not going to be able to find work after this. Me, Jimmy, I'm not going to be able to find work after this. What he says is, and I really love this quote, he's like, the top of our ladder, the top rung of our ladder is the bottom rung of yours.
Yeah.
There's just a deep cruelty about doing this in the first place, about not informing them of this huge change that's going to occur in their lives until they're 140 some days into this journey.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be unemployed when they get back home. You know what I mean? It's not like they can't start applying for jobs now. They're on this ship in the middle of space. In addition to that, there's all these things when you're going around the ship, and they're kind of funny at first, where it's like there'll be a poster that says, be careful when lifting a box not to injure yourself, and it's like, and then if you look closer, there's small text that says, remember that all injuries are any medical supplies that you use to treat an injury will be docked from your pay.
It's just that concept of like, no, really, don't injure yourself because we don't want to take responsibility for that shit.
Exactly. There's something that's like, make sure you get enough rest. A well-rested employee is a happy employee. And then underneath it's like, you are, you're not allotted more than 5 hours of sleep per night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Like, this is a company that does not care about these people. And if you're in doubt of that, it's 5 months after the crash is when this game ends.
Yeah.
Nobody has come to rescue them.
Yeah.
And 5 months is longer than it took them to get here. It took them 147 days to get to where they are.
Yeah.
It is 5 months is at least 150 days.
Yeah.
So they could have been rescued by now.
Yeah, they could have been.
They aren't rescued.
Yeah, it's just clear that they're working for a company that does not give a shit about them. And I think when you live in a society, in a capitalist society that doesn't care, you also take that in and you also don't care, right? And I'm not standing up or sympathizing with Jimmy in any way because he is the villain here, but it's easy to understand why people who don't feel cared about also just don't care about other people. You know, it leaks onto other people, this kind of bigger picture thing.
I agree. And a villain can be a victim. In fact, most often they are.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Most people that do horrible things are doing horrible things because horrible things have been done to them and they, processed them poorly, or they feel powerless and then want to transfer that powerlessness onto other people, which is, I think, the case for Jimmy. Or, they are deprived and desperate of many things, of kindness, affection, love, purpose, or, material things, right? Why do people mug other people? It's not because they love it. It's because they feel desperate, right?
Right.
So I think all of these characters are victims of this system. And I think exactly what you're saying, because of this, there's a lot of scenes in this game where you are watching old capitalist propaganda on TV screens.
Are those real, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, so they weren't made for the game. The game is showing you like real animated cartoons and real clips.
Correct. I don't know that that's true about all of them, but
Okay.
I know that there's a cartoon that you see in this game about how work gives your life meaning, basically. And I've seen that cartoon before.
Oh, have you? That's so
Mhm.
interesting.
So this was like 1940s, I think, 1950s
Okay. That makes
propaganda
sense. Yeah.
about capitalism, right? They were fighting, I guess it was 50s, because they were fighting communism at the time, right? And so they were trying to, indoctrinate American youth into capitalist system.
Yeah.
So that is a theme for this game, is about how work. These people are told their whole lives that work is what gives their lives meaning.
Yeah.
Climbing up a ladder, a corporate ladder, bringing home money to support your life and lifestyle. And as Swansea recognizes, the moment they open up that cargo hold and see the mouthwash, Swansea instantly realizes, number one, they don't care about us. We're not going to get rescued. Number two,
Correct.
I've wasted my life because I bought the capitalist idea. I bought the quote unquote American dream. The two car garage, dog, 2.5 kids, a wife, and a basketball hoop in the driveway. I bought that myth, and it was empty. It was as empty as this job in which I have been for 147 days now, and clearly now for the rest of my life, transporting mouthwash.
Yeah. And I do want to say it's not just the pressure to work, right? Because I think it is very satisfying to do stuff. I'm a creative. I like working in the creative space, and that does give me a purpose. But like in the 50s and 60s, it wasn't just get a job to feel good about yourself. That's not what it is. It's you need to keep hustling all the time and be the best. It's like Jimmy said, right? They were always going to be on that bottom rung.
Well, I think, yes. And I think it's defining yourself by work.
Yeah.
And defining yourself by the striving for these goals rather than living as yourself in the moment and enjoying things. Swansea has a big, long speech about how, he was a bad person, a violent person, and this is how he can recognize it in Jimmy. He was a bad person. He was a violent person. He was a alcoholic, and he gave up alcohol, and he got himself a job. He cleaned himself up. He got a wife, had some kids, tried to be a good dad, tried to be a good husband, tried to be a good employee. And after all that, as now he's facing his death and given up his sobriety and is intentionally drinking himself to death, he realizes that the best days of his life were those horrible days where he was sick on the floor, hungover, picking up another bottle. And I think what the game is trying to say with that speech is not that it is good to be an alcoholic.
No, of course not.
Not trying to romanticize those things in the way Swansea is. They're trying to use a bad example of this to illustrate this idea that even a bad life is better than no life, right? Even a bad version of learning how to live in the moment and learning how to enjoy yourself and learning how to just exist in the world, where you're not always striving to give other people things and to work for somebody above you or even somebody below you, to work and be part, just be another cog in a system, to use a really a cliche that is often employed very glibly, but I think it's apt here. to be your own machine, living for yourself. Doing that poorly, like Swansea was, is better than doing the other thing well.
Yeah.
Better than being a good, shiny, well-oiled cog.
Yeah. And what I kind of took away from some of the propaganda that was being shown, these really like happy, like if you just do this, you'll be so happy. It reminded me so heavily. My dad was in Vietnam. He died later from Agent Orange complications. And there's this idea that he was always unhappy to hear, and that if he just did this, if he was just a hero, that he would have a great life, right? Yeah. And he was told that, and then later he dies of the same thing that he was meant to be a hero about. There's this great song by Roger Whittaker. It's called If. Highly recommend going to listen to it. And it's just this idea that is pushed upon us, that if we just do this thing, if we just sacrifice our time and our wants and our energies, and that we'll just have a good life. And it's so rarely is like that. So rarely. And it's kind of just promoting this all-American dream, white picket fence, like just do the thing, get promoted, you'll have a family, you can have a kid, house, it's fine, and it's just not, that's not healthy. It's not productive,
It's dehumanizing.
It is dehumanizing.
Because being a human is about living, right? It's one thing, it's another glib thing that people say all the time when they're telling you to live for today, live, laugh, love.
Ew.
They bring up this idea of like, oh, tomorrow you could get hit by a bus. Right. And what's glib about that is, but so you shouldn't drain your savings every day.
Right. Absolutely.
But what's true about it is if you're making yourself miserable to strive and you get hit by a bus tomorrow, then you've only known misery, right?
Yeah.
You should combine. You should make sure you spend time enjoying life basically every day, as often as you can, because you could get stranded on a fucking asteroid in the middle of space with nothing but mouthwash. Right?
Yeah.
That probably won't happen to you.
This will not happen to you guys. Just don't be alarmed. Not a real fear.
But something similar could happen to you. There's so many, you could, so many things could happen to us every single day. We want to have had a good day that day, and we want to have had a good yesterday that day, the day before, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't, because they expect some reward later on. So one of those videos that you're talking about shows it casts the company, not Pony Express, but the just generically the company, any company, all companies, as these heroic figures who they take care of you. They take care of your life they take care of your health by giving you health insurance, which is one of the biggest scams of all time. They take care of your family by giving you a paycheck. They take care of your leisure by giving you vacation time, which, if you think about that, that is such a perverse thing to say.
You're allowed. I'll allow you to have 5 days.
Right. Who's taking me away from vacation but you?
Yeah.
Right? We give you vacation time for your leisure. Okay, but all I would have is leisure if I wasn't having to come in that's an absurd thing to say. So, and, the invention of health insurance is just to desocialize medical care in capitalist countries. That is why health insurance was invented. It was, hey, we could profit off of this, and it's the only reason we don't have a single payer universal health care is because the insurance lobby has been so strong, and they were able to convince people that the single payer universal health care plans that were being circulated 100 years ago were, quote, communism.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry, that's me
okay.
ranting a little bit, but we watch these things in Mouthwashing. We watch this thing that just valorizes the corporation, and you're watching it knowing that none of those things happened for Daisuke. None of those things happened for Anya.
Yeah.
None of those things happened for Curly. None of them happened for Swansea. None of them happened for Jimmy. So to me, when I turned off this game, right, like I understood the Anya plotline. I understood what had happened to Anya. I understood the tragedy of it. I understood how Jimmy sucked.
Yeah.
But I hadn't digested all the ways that the game was centered around the rape theme.
Right.
Because I was focused on this capitalism theme.
Yeah.
And I just kept, I saw it early on, and I just kind of kept plucking out almost like many of the same details you did.
Yeah.
Because I think the game is drawing a parallel between the two.
I think it absolutely is. Yeah.
I think it is. Yeah. And we all know capitalism. Here, two statements that are absolutely true. And you probably heard them before. Well, one of them you might not have heard before. Two statements that are absolutely true. Sorry. Start again. Two statements that are absolutely true. Capitalism is worse for women than it is for men.
Mm-hmm.
Another statement that's also true. Misogyny hurts men as much as it hurts women.
Absolutely, it does.
And I think the reason we're able to draw a metaphor between both of these between those two themes is because those two things are true.
Yes, I agree. And do you remember the one thing I texted you that you didn't clock and your mind was like blown for a second?
Remind me.
All right, I don't know if you want to talk about it or not, but Pony Express has a mascot. I guess it's a pony. When I saw it, I thought it was a moose. Is it a pony? Okay, it's a very weird looking pony.
It does look kind of like a moose, but there's so much pony imagery. There's a point. I also want to say this game is scary.
Yes,
this game is scary, and
yeah.
there are absurd scenes like you're being chased by a ghost pony at one point.
Yeah,
and it's scary.
It's scary. Yeah.
Maybe we should talk about the mechanics at the very end because
yeah, we'll talk about we'll talk about why it's
criticism of this game.
Yeah, why it's a good or critique it, and that'll maybe work as a little bit of a palate cleanser too. We'll do a bit of more of our own objective. I mean, it's always going to be subjective, but you know what I mean. More on mechanic. Yeah. But yeah, there's a mascot. I guess it's a pony. It's a very weird looking pony.
It's a weird looking pony.
And in the beginning of the game, you are running around playing as Jimmy in the kind of this very dreamy but horrifying, let's not say dreamy, let's say nightmarescape type of thing. And you keep running into this mascot, this little pony, and you hear a baby crying in the background as you do. And the last time you find the pony, it is disfigured. Yes. Well, you find this pony, or her name is Polly, or I think it's her name is Polly, and you meet Polly at the end of the game. It kind of personifies, and Jimmy's losing his mind now and talking to this mascot.
And it's the only character who speaks truth to
Correct.
Yeah.
It's the only character that speaks at all.
That's true too.
It's the only character that has a voice. And I think that kind of represents for Jimmy and for the player, the unborn child, that didn't get a chance. They are the most innocent one in the story, and thus they do have a voice that is uncorrupt because they didn't do anything. And yeah, you're right. It is the only character that not only has a speaking voice, everything else is unvoiced, but also is telling the truth, to Jimmy. And I just think that's really interesting.
It says take responsibility, and Jimmy says, I am, like and it's basically I can't remember the quotes, right? But it basically says something like,
then why are you still concerned with him?
Yeah, it's not about Curly, dude.
Yeah,
and,
it's not about Curly.
Right? Like, when he's like, he says, our worst moments don't make us monsters. And the thing's basically like, that doesn't apply to you right now.
It does not.
And, and again, what it's saying to him is like, that doesn't, sorry, just to back up, just to repeat, what it means by that is, it doesn't apply to you because you're talking about something you haven't even done yet. It doesn't absolve you of future crimes or crimes you're committing currently. It means you can be better than your worst mistakes.
Yes.
It doesn't mean if I do something terrible, I'm still a good person.
Right.
Like, just you can't. Anyway, I'm mad at Jimmy.
But yeah, I texted that to you when we were talking to the mask. We were talking about the mascot. I'm like, yeah, it has a voice. It's the only one.
Well, so I think it makes a lot of sense that it represents the unborn child.
Yeah.
And you're being chased. Yeah, like you said, you're being chased by it at the beginning when you are Jimmy. You don't even know you're Jimmy. And at that time, you're also hearing sounds of like a baby crying, and you don't know why. You think it's just trying to unsettle you, which it is, but it's also making a point here. And I think there's something to the metaphor here of this baby was forced upon Anya. She didn't want it. Happened through non-consensual means. And it'll never exist. It'll never see life because, Jimmy created, was half of what created it, but also killed it.
Yeah.
By crashing the ship.
Yeah.
And driving Anya to suicide. Both things.
Yeah, both things. Yep. You
can draw a parallel between that and the mouthwash itself. It is a thing they didn't know that they were being made. They were, they were kind of tricked into carrying it. It's a thing that'll never reach its destination.
Yeah.
It is a symbol of the cruelty that's been done to them. And yeah, I think that is, I think there's a strong connection between
yeah, absolutely,
the cargo and the horse and
absolutely
the unborn baby.
Yeah, it's very well done in terms of psychological horror.
So let's talk about mechanics for a little bit.
Oh, do we have to? Listen, I struggled, okay? It was a struggle for me with these mechanics.
Is mostly a walking sim. You're basically walking around and talking to people.
Yeah.
Looking at stuff.
You are doing objectives, but don't look at this like a fetch quest thing. It's not quite like that. You are progressing the story by doing objectives, but they're very easy.
And there's very, very simple puzzles. Like, you have to... Here's another thing. There's all sorts of stuff like the cargo and certain supplies and the sweetener that are locked behind a code that only the captain can read with a code reader.
Yeah.
Which is silly because you fucking stand behind the captain, you see the code, and now you know how to get the sweetener. It's just a conceit, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So very simple little puzzles like that. But there's other stuff. Like there is a first-person shooter sequence that sucks.
God, dude, I'm so glad that you're saying that because I failed so many times.
I had to give I played this game with my son. Don't worry, everybody's 20 years old. He is pro at like he played Overwatch, not literal pro, but he played Overwatch like for a long time, and he played a lot of Fortnite and stuff.
Yeah, so he should be good at this, right?
Yeah, so I gave it to him, and he struggled with it, but he got it. I think he got it after 2. And it was funny to hand him the controller, because in the middle of this game that was really deep and really intense, and he was doing the sorts of things where he's like stuttering, like pulling up the gut, like aiming and dropping the aim just over and over again in this like rapid pattern. And it's like, but that just comes naturally to you.
Yeah. That's so funny.
He just knows how to do it.
Yeah.
And he's like, like edging around the sides of like corners,
strafing.
And so, like, where I had no idea how to follow. So basically, this first-person shooter thing is Swansea's chasing you with an axe, and he keeps sneaking up on you from behind and killing you.
To me, he sneaks up way too fast.
Yes.
Like, it gives you a little bit of a warning, and then as soon as I try to turn around, I'm dead.
Yeah, that's how I was, and my son was sympathetic to that. He was like, "Wow, that happens really fast."
Yeah, it's fast.
But he was so good at it that he was basically just like following Swansea around.
Oh wow!
I like always knew. Like for me, I had no idea where Swansea was at any given time.
Same.
And my son was just like chasing him. Like, damn it, dude.
That's funny.
But there's a stealth sequence that is like very opaque too, because you're being chased by something invisible. The only thing you know is that you need to be quiet. But it doesn't tell you. You only have to be quiet when the thing is nearby.
Yes.
When it's very far away, you can run. So I was just walking so slowly through the entire thing. And it's slightly maze-like too. So it took me a long time, and it sucked. What are some other bits of gameplay here?
Well, I think
there's a chase sequence where you're being chased by a weird monster thing that is like that's like what, 1,000 curlies all turned into like a centipede.
I thought it was the pony Polly.
Was it Polly?
I thought
at that point it was Curly. I don't know. You might be right. I can't remember. There's a puzzle sequence where this is a metaphor I don't get. At some point, you serve Curly as if he's cake to the crew. They're all dead at this point, so you're putting them in chairs and cutting his leg off and serving it to them on plates. It's unclear if Jimmy eats a piece of him, but what Jimmy does is he feeds a piece of Curly's leg to Curly.
To himself, yeah.
And he does it later in one of these dream sequency things during his like hallucination breakdown towards the end. And you have to arrange a series of TV screens so that they all connect. All his like digestive tracts connect.
I didn't understand that.
My son figured it out for me. I kept turning the things, and I was like, I don't get it. And he was like, oh, it wraps around, and he solved it.
Like, I get that, but I still couldn't see it. Like, I was like, I don't know if I'm doing this right or not. Like, I don't. Well, whatever,
I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it until he pointed out that it wrapped around, and then I got it. But but from that point, but at that point, I was already sick of it. And like, I almost think this game would have been better served to have just been a walking simulator, do a bunch of tasks, horror game.
I agree. I do see how people might like it because it does cut those slower times with something a little more, something with more adrenaline in it. So I do understand. I just think it was a little too overcompensating. There's also a lot of backtracking. Like the ship itself is not that big, so that's nice. I enjoy that the setting was relatively easy to navigate, but as you're losing your mind, it just seems like the setting gets longer and longer, and these hallways don't end, and here's a hallway of eyeballs and it's never ending.
So I'll agree with that. The backtracking didn't bother me, but sometimes the like incredibly long hallways.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to say. It's not the backtracking on the ship.
Just running.
Just running, yeah.
Just having to run for so long. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But in this game, if you've somehow listened to this whole thing and haven't played it and are still interested in playing it, and I think there's still more to pick up. Like, I think I might replay it at some point. Not because it's pleasant.
Is, yeah. Yeah, no, it's not pleasant.
But because now I know more about it and I'll know to pay attention to certain things. Yeah. So again, if you're a person who did listen to this whole thing, hasn't played the game, and want to, I think there's still maybe value in it.
I think there is value in it. If not, to just witness a piece of art, a piece of psychological horror art, I think is good. You know, it's hard to do horror, man. Like, that's why there's so much bad horror out there. It's hard.
Actually, there's one other thing I did want to get your thoughts on, and that is... Okay, this is probably the only time we're going to talk about this game. We're probably not going to bring this up a third time.
I'm going to bring it up next week. I'm kidding. I'm
not. So, I want to say two things. One, a lot of this game... it takes place after this crash, and a lot of the hull has been sealed with this like foam.
Yeah.
And that's such an interesting sci-fi concept that I've never seen before.
Oh, okay.
Just like large chunks of the hull just sealed with this big foam stuff.
Yeah.
And so you can't access it. Oh, that was cool. This is just like a cool little sci-fi concept in the middle of this really intense horror game. Another thing that I thought was very interesting was there's only one point in the game where we actually see Curly unharmed.
Right.
And the weird sort of twist that Curly's like a young guy.
Yeah.
He's about our age.
Yeah.
Or sorry, he's about Jimmy's age. And it's just really interesting. Sort of like this idea of you go through the entire game thinking like he's the captain and he's been on this other track his whole life and whatever. You just get this, you just have this assumption that he's this much older, wiser guy, and he's just a dumb kid like all of you.
He's just a dumb guy.
Yeah, just a bunch of dumb kids. Just a bunch of dumb kids who are like thrown into this fucking situation. The whole thing's horrifying. It's horrifying. Yeah, and
even
that's
kind
if
of the
Jimmy
reason...
wasn't the piece of garbage that he is, this would still be horrifying.
Absolutely.
Even if the fucking ship didn't crash, it'd be horrifying.
Absolutely. The whole concept is horrifying and terrible. And and I think that's why, like, you know, Curly, again, he didn't take as much responsibility as needed, but I think we can say that he also is just a young kid thrown into this thing by society.
Responsibility.
Yeah. How is he supposed to deal with this? You know,
this idea he was just put on the same. He's putting, you know, this thing of this like dual tracks in society. He was put on one ladder. Jimmy was put on another. Jimmy is. It pains me to say, Jimmy is right to be upset about that.
He is, yes. He is correct in that.
Which one of the other things about this game is all the characters are complex. Even the worst guy who is irredeemably bad. There's things to feel sympathetic to him about. There's things he was right about. There's, you know, ways in which he did good. Very few. But there are ways in which he did good in this game. It's a lot.
It's a complex game. It really is, and I I'm not going to say I had fun with it, but what psychological horror anything is fun? It's not. I'm sorry, it's not. You think I watched Insomnia because I wanted to have fun? No, absolutely not. So, and I know it's different because you are playing a game, you are interacting with it, so it can feel even more intense since you're kind of a part of it. You're steering it, right? But I do think it's worth playing because it really, again, for me, it was almost relieving, cathartic, maybe for you too, or thoughtful.
For sure.
Or provocative in a way, maybe. So I really do think it is like a work, truly like a work of art. And I know everyone's saying that this game got very popular, but I do believe that to be true, that it is a very artfully done game.
I agree. I think it is a small masterpiece.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think it is. I think it's a really. It's a really important piece of work.
Yeah. We should probably say that if you're still here, we were going to cover another game in this episode. Mm-hmm. We are not going to have time to do that.
No.
But we are going to cover it next episode.
We're going to cover it next week. Maybe we'll find a second game to do. Maybe we'll just that'll be the theme, right?
Yeah.
Do 2 games every week for Spooky Month.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's just so much to talk about Mouthwashing, and people in the Discord, you've been begging for more Mouthwashing talk all week. So, hey, you fucking got it, folks.
There you go. And don't forget, I will be doing a video on it.
Get a video from Roses.
Yeah.
So
where I will talk even more. Assume that's why you're subscribed, and if you're not, whoa, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Why are you here?
Why are you here? Get out of here. What are you're eavesdropping on other people's stuff.
Weird. Why are you being weird?
Weird. You're being get out of it. They're hiding in the corner. Get.
Jerry, get out of here. I see you lurking.
All right. Well, this has been an interesting spooky month because it has been, not only have we played a bunch of really incredible games, mm-hmm. We've also played a bunch of games that aren't just like spooky, scary monsters.
Yeah.
We've been playing games that have been, it's just like deeply interesting.
Agreed.
And where just like straight up and down Halloween style horror is one of the least important aspects of them.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. And honestly, just even like playing Mouthwashing and then looking at the publisher, it really feels like kind of this intense psychological horror is kind of popular right now. I guess. People are appreciating it, I think, especially since we can do so much with the gaming medium. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I would love to revisit this entire topic. Not Mouthwashing again, just the psychological horror games is something I'd like to.
Topic of psychological horror games. Yeah. I would too. I think we'll probably go for some lighter horror next week because we've had some intense discussions.
Yes.
But I'm glad we did, and I'm glad we played this.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad you recommended
it. Thank you, Dana in the Discord for
Hi, Dana.
recommending it. I think it's a game that I already knew about. I don't know. Had you heard of it at all?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I kind of filed it as not interested because of the graphic style, because of the art style.
You know, me too. Well, yeah. I'd heard that it was more than its graphic style, so like I was like, maybe one day.
Yeah.
But I probably never was going to.
Yeah.
Until it was recommended again, and I'm glad we played it.
Yeah, me too. So how should we close this episode?
I remember Carimara. That was cute.
That was cute. What a cute little thing. Well, email us, obviously. MattandRoses@gmail.com. Jinx!
Damn it. Now I owe you a Coke.
You owe me a Coke now. You can follow us on Instagram. You can see Homered. He is now posted on Instagram, Save Your Game Podcast.
I'll soon post your picture of the owl from Carimara.
At Discord. We have a Discord. It's hopping. It's popping.
We should have a permanent link.
We don't know how to do stuff.
In the show description, I learned how to do it. I had to Google it.
What even is technology?
I know. And you know what? I'll say this a little bit ahead of time. So next week is our last week of Spooky Month, and then we're gonna take just a little break. It might be a week, it might be 2 weeks. I'm not sure yet.
Or I'll be like, I miss it. Let's do a record. Let's do a podcast.
Yeah. Hey man, if we do a record, we are going to both also be at Adventure X in London. Yes. At the towards the end of November. So first of all, if you're going to be at Adventure X, hit us up, come say hi. But
don't bother me.
But
sorry.
We'll try to pre-record an episode to put up during that time, but you might end up with 2 breaks in November.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
But yeah, first week of November, we're going to take a break, and then we'll see from there.
Yeah.
But if we disappear for a couple of weeks, we're not gone forever. You'll hear from us in November. You will definitely hear from us in December.
Yeah. And we'll be in the Discord. We'll update the Instagram. Yeah. We're here.
Thank you everybody for listening. Keep it spooky.
Oh dear.
I don't know. How do we end these podcasts?
I mean, my tagline on YouTube when I do spooky stuff is "Stay spooky," but that's not our tagline.
That's not our tagline.
Our tagline goes a little bit like this: podcasts is art,
and art is suffer.
So relevant, though.
God.
So relevant.